Have you ever wondered why the words of a man who walked the earth over 2,000 years ago still echo through the hearts of billions today? Kingdoms have risen and fallen. Empires have turned to dust. The world's greatest leaders have been forgotten. Yet the teachings of Jesus continue to transform lives. Not because he offered people wealth, not because he promised an easy life, but because he revealed something deeper, a way to live, a way to love, a way to endure suffering without losing hope. Tonight, we are not simply looking at 5 lessons from Jesus. We are exploring 5 truths powerful enough to change the course of your life forever. The world teaches us a simple rule: love those who love you. Ignore those who don't. But Jesus shattered that rule. He looked at a world filled with anger, division, and revenge and said, "Love your enemies and pray for those who persecute you." Think about that. Anyone can love a friend. Anyone can be kind to someone who is kind in return. But loving those who hurt you, that requires a different kind of strength. A strength that doesn't come from pride. A strength that comes from grace. Hatred creates more hatred. Anger creates more anger. But love has the power to stop the cycle. Jesus knew that the most powerful force in existence was not fear. It was love, because love can heal wounds that medicine cannot touch. Love can restore relationships that seem impossible to repair. Love can transform hearts that seem beyond saving. And perhaps the person who needs your love most today is the one you least want to give it to. One of the most astonishing moments in history happened while Jesus was dying on the cross. People mocked him, insulted him, rejected him. Yet in the middle of unimaginable suffering, he said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." Most people forgive when an apology comes. Jesus forgave before one was offered. Why? Because forgiveness was never meant to free the offender. It was meant to free the wounded. Holding on to resentment is like carrying a heavy chain through life. You may think you're hurting someone else, but the weight remains on your own shoulders. Forgiveness doesn't mean pretending the pain never happened. It means refusing to let that pain control your future. The moment you forgive, you take back your peace. Every person watching this video is facing a storm. Some storms are visible, others are hidden deep within the heart. Fear, anxiety, loss, uncertainty. The disciples experienced this firsthand. One night, a violent storm struck their boat. Waves crashed around them. Experienced fishermen believed they might die. Yet Jesus slept peacefully. When they woke him, he stood and spoke 3 simple words: "Peace, be still." And the storm obeyed. But here's what many people miss. The greatest miracle wasn't calming the sea. It was teaching his followers that God's presence remains even when life feels out of control. Faith doesn't mean you'll never face storms. Faith means believing you won't face them alone. Sometimes God calms the storm. Sometimes he calms the person in the storm. Either way, you are never abandoned. The world celebrates power, status, recognition, influence. But Jesus turned greatness upside down. On the night before his crucifixion, he did something shocking. He washed his disciples' feet, a task normally reserved for servants. The king became a servant. The master knelt before his followers. Why? Because Jesus understood something many people spend their entire lives missing. The greatest people are not those who are served. They are those who serve. Real greatness isn't measured by how many people know your name. It's measured by how many lives are better because you existed. A helping hand, a kind word, a small act of compassion. These things may seem insignificant, but in God's kingdom they are treasures. On Friday, it looked like evil had won. Jesus was crucified. His followers were devastated. Their hopes seemed buried. Their future seemed destroyed. Darkness covered everything. But Sunday was coming. The tomb could not hold him. Death could not defeat him. Despair could not silence him. And that's the final lesson Jesus teaches us. Your darkest chapter is not necessarily your final chapter. The story isn't over simply because life feels broken today. The same God who brought life from a tomb can bring hope into your situation. No failure is final. No wound is beyond healing. No person is beyond redemption. And no night lasts forever, because after every Friday comes a Sunday. Jesus did not simply teach people how to survive. He taught them how to live. To love when hatred is easier. To forgive when bitterness feels justified. To trust when fear is overwhelming. To serve when pride demands recognition. And to hope when darkness seems endless. These lessons change the world. But the real question is, will they change you? Because history is not transformed by great ideas. History is transformed when ordinary people choose to live them. And perhaps that's why you're watching this video today. Not by accident, but as an invitation to live differently, an invitation to live with grace, an invitation to walk the path that Jesus showed the world. Pause. If this message touched your heart, subscribe to GraceBound Stories, and remember, God's grace is greater than your past, stronger than your fears, and brighter than your future. Until next time, stay blessed.